really should define what drift is. I was working with one retirement community that was a lot of spiritual attack as it tried to
Right.
reorient to its, Christian roots. They were like, I don't want people praying to someone other than God. I don't want that to be part of something that we do as an organization. If a
Yep.
resident does it's one thing, but if we do it, I was like, and you probably don't want prayer to just stop altogether. And they
Right.
just were staring at me. This is what will happen. Finding things that to the founders or to the leaders, very committed followers of Christ, it's like, you just utter, we would never do that. I swim in this space all the time. I'm
Yep.
like, it happens, and it happens quite fast.
It does. And the interesting thing, Becca, is that the pressures in different spaces that come through government regulation, for instance, state regulation, federal regulation, you know, deciding what money you're willing to take and what money you're not willing to take is a very important thing. So we qualified for federal loans. We just didn't take the money because they came with strings. So when the president had all these executive orders canceling research funding, we didn't have much that we had to change because we had already said no to money
Right.
that. And once you start accepting it, nonprofits can't afford not to build their budgets around expectation of that money continuing. And so, if I say, well, I can just look away from this one section of the institution so that we can receive this money and accomplish something good for the gospel, those kinds of things come back and bite you real hard.
That is spot on. And I think you can use government funding creatively, but to your point, you need to know what those strings attached are
Yeah, that's right.
and how they can come back and get you in the future, in addition to the
Yeah.
ramping up for a project and then the laying off when that grant funding ends.
Yeah, we always have counsel look at stuff before we'll even. But here's another example. There are some grants that the grant requires that you use union labor to build something. Well, I'm fine with that. There are other grants that tell you you have to use companies or you've got to embrace these kinds of commitments or that. And one of the challenges that people have is not only federal money, but what happens if you have a donor who wants to give you a really big gift, but wants you to soft pedal something on the mission?
Mm-hmm.
What are you willing to say no to? Who are you willing not to hire? It's not just what are you trying to accomplish, but what boundaries are you willing to set? And those aren't easy to set. When it involves people that are invested in ways in the life of the institution, it's a different thing. It's those kind of real life situations that present the greatest challenge.